4 men and 4 women must eliminate their rivals within 80 minutes. Do you want to know how they'll do it? Let's start. 8 candidates are preparing for the final round of interviews for their dream job. Unfortunately, only one of them can succeed. All of them are extremely nervous and willing to do anything to get the position. It's time for the final test. This is no ordinary test. It takes place in a room monitored by isolated security cameras. Each candidate sits at a separate table. In front of them is only a sheet of paper labeled with their candidate number. An armed guard enters the room, followed by a strict, businesslike supervisor. He explains the conditions of the final task. They must answer just one question to get the job. The candidates have 80 minutes. During this time, there are no rules or laws. However, a candidate will be disqualified if they speak to the guard or the supervisor, damage their sheet of paper, or try to leave the room. The supervisor asks if anyone has a question. No one responds. He leaves the room, and the countdown begins. The men and women examine their sheets carefully, but they are completely blank. The candidates look at each other in confusion. What are they supposed to do? A young Asian woman picks up her paper and starts writing an essay explaining why she deserves the job. Immediately, the guard walks over to her and escorts her out of the room. She has violated the rules by writing on the paper. The woman protests, but no one listens. The remaining candidates are shocked. One of them begins speaking. To their surprise, talking to each other is not against the rules. Since they don't know each other's names, they decide to refer to one another by simple identifiers: white, black, brown, gray, and so on. One man remains silent and does not participate. White stands up and begins walking around the room. Everyone is trying to figure out what the question is. Maybe it's hidden on the paper using invisible ink or watermarks. They examine the sheets under different lights, but nothing appears. Then someone realizes the room has ultraviolet and infrared lighting systems. To activate them, they need to turn off the main lights. Since there's no switch, they decide to break the lamps using chairs. The room goes dark for a moment, but then emergency power activates. Under ultraviolet light, they check the papers again. Still nothing. They try infrared lighting next by breaking more lamps. The room shifts from blue to red. Again, nothing appears. Time is running out. Only 1 hour remains. White picks up the sheet left behind by the disqualified woman and shades it with a pencil, hoping to reveal hidden markings. Still nothing. He then tears the paper into pieces and asks the others to wet them, thinking water might reveal something. At the same time, he opens a nearby drain. It's a desperate attempt, but it leads nowhere. No hidden symbols appear. Gray stays out of the discussion. He is French and keeps repeating, "Do you see it?" Before breaking down in tears, Brown begins to think more deeply. There must be a reason they were chosen. 4 men and 4 women. Different backgrounds, different personalities, different skills. This cannot be random. It must be some kind of experiment. But what is the purpose? Suddenly, they realize something disturbing. They know almost nothing about the company they are applying to. Only one candidate, Dark, seems to have some information. She explains that the company operates in the healthcare sector and is working on life extension technology. At a time when the world is threatened by a mysterious viral epidemic, such a cure would be priceless. This is why Brown is here. He desperately wants to save his best friend. Brown approaches the guard and secretly checks his pockets. He finds only a lighter. The candidates begin to suspect that the room might function like a darkroom used for developing photographs. Maybe the hidden question can be revealed using heat or fire. Using the lighter and a piece of paper, Brown triggers the fire alarm. Water starts pouring from the ceiling, but it changes nothing. No symbols appear. Then Brown realizes something is wrong. His paper is missing. White had secretly switched it earlier and used Brown's paper instead. This counts as damaging the paper. The guard immediately steps in. Brown tries to explain, but it's too late. He is escorted out of the room. Black becomes furious. That was a cruel and unfair move. Then something strange happens. The candidates realize the room responds to sound. They can control certain elements, like lighting, using voice commands. White begins manipulating one of the more unstable candidates, pressuring him into tearing his paper and putting it in his mouth. The man panics, and is immediately disqualified by the guard. Only 5 candidates remain. White is satisfied. He has already eliminated 2 competitors. Black is disgusted by his behavior and punches him in the face. The others restrain White, tie him to a chair, and gag him to prevent further manipulation. For a while, things calm down. Eventually, they remove the gag. White claims he is infected with the same disease the company is trying to cure. He says he needs medication or he will suffer severe symptoms and possibly fall into a coma. Most of the others don't believe him. They decide to wait and see if he's telling the truth. Meanwhile, suspicion grows. Some begin to think that Dark might be a spy for the company. She knows too much. Dark insists they need to trust each other or they will all fail. But not everyone agrees. Tension rises as they begin turning on each other. Black decides to take control of the situation. He ties Dark to a chair and demands that she tell the truth. Under pressure, she finally admits it. She does work for the company. She wanted to rise higher within the organization, and this test was her opportunity. Still, Black doesn't fully believe her. He remains suspicious and keeps pushing. But then he notices something unexpected. There are small red marks on her body, signs that she may actually be telling the truth about her condition and her struggle. His aggression begins to fade. For a moment, it seems like he might hurt her, but at the last second, he stops. Maybe she isn't lying after all. A few minutes later, White begins to show symptoms as well. It turns out he wasn't lying either. Now the situation becomes more urgent. Where is his pill? It seems that someone has taken it. The remaining candidates begin searching each other. Eventually, Black finds a capsule hidden under Brown's desk from earlier. But there's a problem. The pill falls into a container of water during the struggle. In desperation, they crush the tablet and try to use it anyway, hoping it will still work. White's condition continues to worsen. Dark, growing anxious, looks directly into the camera and asks for help. That breaks the rules. The guard immediately enters and removes her from the room. Despite everything, Black manages to force the dissolved medicine into White. Against all odds, it works. White stabilizes. Black unties himself and steps back. But White has changed. He becomes aggressive again. He declares that there is no actual question. The test itself is the question. Only one candidate can remain. Without hesitation, White rushes toward the guard, trying to grab his weapon. Black reacts quickly and manages to stop him, taking the gun away. The two struggle, and the tension in the room explodes. White eventually regains control of the weapon. He points it at the others. One by one, he forces them to leave the room. Brown had already been eliminated earlier, so now the remaining candidates are pushed out. In the end, only White remains. But something doesn't feel right. He waits for confirmation. Nothing happens. Confused, he assumes he has passed the test. The guard approaches him and shows him the timer. The time has not actually run out. Earlier, before leaving the room, White secretly pressed a button on the guard's watch, speeding up the countdown display. He cheated. White raises the gun again, but this time, it's empty. There were never any real bullets inside. He broke the rules. The guard escorts him out. Now only Brown remains. He re-enters the room alone. Everything is quiet. On the table, he notices a pair of glasses left behind by White. He picks them up and looks through them at the paper. For the first time, something appears. A hidden message. The question. He remembers what the supervisor asked at the beginning. "Do you have a question?" At that moment, White re-enters the room. But now, everything is different. He is no longer a candidate. He is the manager. Brown steps forward calmly, holding the glasses. He answers, "I have no question." The guard enters as well. But after everything that has happened, Brown hesitates. He says he doesn't want to work for a company that forces people to risk their lives like this. Then the guard tells him to take a closer look. Black is still alive. The gun didn't fire bullets. It fired capsules containing a drug. A drug that cures the deadly disease. The entire test was designed to simulate extreme conditions. The company needs people who can think, adapt, and function under intense pressure. People who don't break. People like Brown. After a moment of silence, Brown understands. He nods and accepts the offer. Thank you for watching. Don't forget to like and subscribe for more videos.